Drudge is breaking the story right now. Well, someone else broke it. Drudge just links to it, but most people in media are glad. Even liberals, I think, when Drudge will link to a story they have. A top Clinton donor has said that black people are blanked in the head because they're not showing up to vote for her. You know, Bill Clinton once said about Barack Obama in 2008. In the old days, that fellow would have been getting our drinks for us. I'll tell you, back there in Arkansas, we knew how to take care of those colored people. Oh, is that microphone on? So here you go again. And somehow people say that Donald Trump would be bad for the black community. Uh, I brought this up the other day. Donald Trump has not disparaged anybody who was gay, black, and even when he was talking, people say, well, he called Latinos rapists and murderers. No, he said some were. And you've got evidence. Kate Steinle's case. There is your evidence of the killer. Got it? Well, yeah, but that's not very nice. Well, are we supposed to sit there and ignore murder? Well, no, oh. He has another intelligent liberal responding. Bill Colley with you on Top Story on News Radio 1310 KLIX, newsradio1310.com. News apparently breaking, too, as well. Of course, the New York Times exonerated the Trump campaign the other day and said there's no evidence that Trump is working in collusion with the Russians or that the Russians are trying to influence the election outcome. And apparently they have now found the source of the WikiLeaks emails. And it is nobody near Russia. Nobody. Zilch. Nada. Got it? Do want to thank you for listening this morning. If you're having difficulty listening, you need to stop and see my friend Dr. Christine Pickup at Mount Harrison Audiology in Rupert. She'd like to open your world to new sounds and experiences. A new hearing device is available which works with the brain to help those with hearing loss hear more naturally than any previous aid on the market. And Dr. Pickup is offering a free 2-week trial with these new devices. You can call today and schedule your personal fitting appointment and open your world to better hearing. Call Mount Harrison Audiology, 312-0957. That's 312-0957. 736-0300, the telephone number for reaching our program today. It's 9:46, and I've got 34 for a high already today. You're on, I think we are at 35 about 3 hours ago. So I can't say then that's the high, can I? We want to be accurate here. We don't want to be considered a Democrat. You're up next, and you're on the air with Bill Colley on Top Story. Go ahead. And a thank you, too. All right, well, we'll just move on. You're next in line. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, Bill, I don't mean to take over your program, so don't take it this way. But I think if everybody's listening to you today, if you'd go home tonight and call 2 to 3 people and tell them to vote for this kid, I think that we would get him elected.
I agree.
Because we need him to get elected. I really, because I was going to do the same thing. I was going to vote Democrat this time, and I've never done that before, ever. And we need this kid elected. We need Mike Simpson out of there.
I think that's well said, and I thank you very much for your telephone call. And again, his name is Anthony Tomkins. A quick search on the computer will give you all of his details. Anthony's off to do another radio show this morning, so that's why he had to bow out before the end of the program. But he's definitely making the effort, and I think that a lot of people out there have to realize that there are some young people, and of course his service, as he mentioned, you can't say that he's endorsed by the military, but there's a discipline that anyone who's got a military background would bring to this, and I think that that's clearly important because there's certainly no discipline in Washington. You're up next, and you're on KLIX. Go ahead.
Morning, Bill. I enjoy your show today.
Thank you.
The one fellow you had on here just from the Constitutional Party, the one thing I would disagree with him, and I would urge everyone to really think about, is if we had more farmers in Washington, maybe we wouldn't be in this ridiculous mess that we're in. I think that's the problem with society. We look at farmers as, they're too dumb to do anything else. When farmers, look, the founding fathers, they were all farmers. They had common sense. These idiots in Washington are void of common sense.
My best friend, we've been best friends since we met in the first grade. And my other closest old-time friend, we met in kindergarten, both farmers. I grew up on the farm and still doing it. And let me tell you, when I said that it means common sense, to me, that's the definition of it because, when you sit down with a farmer and talk to him about his or her worldview, you instantly know that these people have a good handle on it. And I I would agree. I think that there's something that they would bring. First of all, hard work. The work ethic is you can't beat it, obviously.
Amen.
And secondly, people don't realize. I remember when I was a young reporter and I was told by the boss, "Oh, we don't cover barn fires because they're common." And I said, "No, but you cover a hardware store fire, and that farm is likely a bigger business than the local hardware store." So these guys are running massive businesses, and they're doing it versus a market that has over the last 40 years been the most turbulent market of any kind in all of America.
Exactly. So I would urge everyone to get out and vote. And, Trump is just the tip of the iceberg. We need to carry on and just really vote in change. And I'm not saying vote Democrat because, my God, I wouldn't vote Democrat if my life depended upon it. But, a common sense constitutional conservative is what we need in this country. And enjoy your show and keep up the good work. Thank you.
Hey, thank you much for the telephone call, sir. And we have another caller with us. And you're up next. You're on the air on News Radio 1310 KLIX as well as newsradio1310.com.
Thanks for the line, Bill. It seems to me that this election, it's not only a referendum on the presidency, but on the way down, because if we look at it this way, in 2010 and 2014, at the midterms, we gave the Senate and the House to the Republicans in D.C. Because they promised that they would help repeal Obamacare and stop the amnesty and the executive actions and all this. They did not. And now the establishment back in D.C. is squawking, and they're wondering why. Well, it just comes back to the reason they didn't keep their promises. And Simpson, I agree, he has to go. I've voted for him every time, and every time he's disappointed me, and I'm voting for Tomkins.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you much for the call. I just have a quick note. I'll get to my next caller. Caller, be patient. We'll get to you in just a few seconds, but I've got this today. USA Today has done a poll. Who would the media like to see elected president? 76% for crooked Hillary, as Donald Trump would call her, and accurately. 8% for Trump. The others are likely all voting for the communist Jill Stein. We have another caller on the air with us. Go ahead. You're on KLIX.
Thank you. Thanks for having Anthony on this morning. I didn't know much about him before, but I will definitely be voting for him. And the other thing I wanted to mention is I have watched Hillary's America the other night, and I have a new name for the Democrats. It's Democrooks.
Thank you for the call. Yeah, well, is there any doubt? I mean, I was reading through some of the accusations today and the various investigations going on, and they can keep trying to deflect blame and claim that Jim Comey doesn't like them and he doesn't like Hillary's looks. Who doesn't? Fact of the matter is, he's working for President Obama and he's doing his job, and this notion, that's all they have left is to attack the messenger who's telling the world, hey, these people are a problem. I mean, Victor Davis Hanson said it very well. They are simply about greed and enriching themselves. You got two people who are 70 years old. They enrich themselves through their public office, and they just want more of it, and they can't get enough. This is where they are the most dangerous in this situation. Bill Colley with you on Top Story this morning, 9:53 straight up, 34. And we do want to point out Rush Limbaugh will follow our program after the news at 10 o'clock this morning. John Podesta, who was just telling you some of the latest emails coming out of Clinton camp, show just how these people, they don't really like black people. They don't really like Latinos. All of this media tried to downplay it. Donald Trump likes women, and that's bad. Why is it, by the way, that a serial adulterer and potential rapist like I say potential. John Kennedy had sex with an underage girl and the White House swimming pool. She wrote a book about it a few years ago, and the media was celebrating it until somebody came along and said, hey, it was statutory rape. Why is it that libs worship at the altar of John Kennedy along with Bill Clinton when these guys are notorious gropers and rapists? And yet they criticize Trump for making locker room jokes. This is all they've got left. Well, what this is really all about is it's not about the groping and the rape and all of that, because Democrats are okay with that as long as you're a fellow traveler and you still promise them a free lunch. But if they don't like your politics, then, of course, if you're accused of groping somebody, and I will tell you this, post-election day, if someone in media, and I doubt they will, but if someone in media has the wherewithal and they investigate Trump's accusers, they're all going to find that Trump's accusers generally have cousins who are Democrat Party ward bosses. In other words, hey, go make an accusation against Trump. And, if you do that, we'll get you a job in government, a no-show job. Okay. Bill Colley with you this morning on Top Story on News Radio 1310, KLIX, newsradio1310.com. John Podesta's got to be about the creepiest guy in all of Washington. Charles Krauthammer appearing last night with Brett Baer on Fox News Channel. Fox went off the air for a while on, it still may be on DirecTV. I was watching it this morning, and apparently it was nationwide. But this is Dr. Krauthammer speaking with Brett Baer about just how creepy this Podesta fella happens to be. And he says Podesta's admitting it.
John Podesta says we are going to have to dump all those emails, so better do so sooner than later. Cheryl Mills responds, think you just got your new nickname. Now, the campaign asked about this, said he was talking about dump, meaning get out the emails, release them. The problem is that what happened? I mean, they chose to release some, and then they destroyed 33,000 of them with the bleach bit. The other problem is, well, a couple problems. One is they, by commenting on this email, authenticated the email and the emails that they haven't done before. And the other thing is if they were going to dump the emails, they would have been dumping classified information.
There is a word. If you want to release emails, there is a word for that. It's called release. He didn't use the word release. He used the word dump. Dump means you're releasing something, but you're doing it in a way that it will disappear. Now, it seems to me quite obvious what's going on here. The instinctive reaction of the campaign, again, reflecting the candidate herself, is to dump, is to hide, is to cover. That's been the way the Clintons have operated for 30 years, and that's what they ended up doing. They ended up segregating 30,000 emails and then destroying them so that, as Trey Gowdy said, even God can't read them now. Look, what's happening here is she is now drowning in the cumulative effect of the WikiLeaks and of the FBI deal. She can't get her message out. I think AB's exactly right. When you have to bring Alicia Machado back on stage 3 weeks later, or is it now 4 weeks later, that shows you got nothing left in the tank. This is a desperation move. It's her only move, because nothing she says can escape the black hole of all this incoming ammunition. We are looking at all of the weeds and the details of this. Nobody is out there, but what they see is cover up, concealment, and perhaps even lying. I mean, there's no way out of that.
And the latest, get this, Breitbart has picked this up. Apparently, details on the investigation into Clinton Inc. have been leaked to Podesta so that he can share them with the campaign by Assistant U.S. Attorney General Peter Kadzik. So, in other words, the fix has been in from the Obama White House. When media tries to tell you that this isn't as big as Watergate, it isn't. It's much bigger. And we have the opportunity on Tuesday to stop this criminal syndicate dead in its tracks. God willing, if the creek don't rise, they'll allow me to come back and do this all over again tomorrow morning, right here on News Radio 1310, KLIX, and newsradio1310.com. Bill Colley saying, have a great day. Rush Limbaugh next. Sean Hannity after 1 o'clock news. Glenn Beck this afternoon. And Dave Ramsey tonight.